show you where Joseph came from. He was born and raised in this small village called, whenever you Mediterranean's time to think about how to pronounce it.
Test 1, 2, 3. Testing.
Good age. It's actually Oud-Aarde in the gemeente Kaatje-Raasen, which is a lake district in the western part of the Netherlands. Lots of farms, lots of green paddocks, and lots of cyclists as well. Oud-Aarde, in this part, is especially for cyclists, and if you just go straight ahead, you will end up in a place called Laagland, which means lowlands.
So can you see there's a handle at the front?
Is where
So you'll just be leaning from here.
Okay.
was located.
So
Paula-
we're sort of, so my
Paula
sister and
will
I'll be near the side.
Yep, you'll be on either side at the front, but I'll be leading you with the kids.
Okay.
All right? Well, welcome everybody, and on behalf of Aveline, Marika, Thomas and the family, I welcome you here as we gather to remember and celebrate the life of Jos Van Der Geest. I'm privileged to be leading our time together, having known the family for over 30 years. Marika was a school friend of my daughter Victoria, and the family spent a bit of time together. I was able to visit the family in their home on the farm in Old Hat Road, and like so many who moved to Australia to start a new life with dreams and ambitions, Jos was one who achieved much of what he dreamed when he left the Netherlands. And his legacy and love of farming carries over into the next generation. Now, we know there's a number of people who cannot be here to share with us today, some in Jos's native home, the Netherlands, and we send a special shout out to them. And they are here. We've got all sorts of things from you here and videos to show you later of Jos's hometown. And we welcome people from elsewhere who couldn't be here. We trust this time will give you a chance to remember Jos's life and to celebrate with us. He was the influence, celebrate with us all he was, and the influence and memories he gave us through his living. So today we remember the life of Jos along with all those whom we've loved and who've gone before. There are all the things we should have said and never did. We may have even missed saying goodbye. Yet we remember these people and we treasure them. Whether it's memories of sitting with us at the Christmas table or birthdays, or just in the unexpected moments, their influence on our lives and memories which linger in our hearts, keep them with us and keep them living on through us. And in a way it's sad that often it's only at a funeral that we meet together and share memories and reminisce. But in this modern life, I guess we need to take any chance we can to catch up. So see this as Jos's parting gift to each of you. He's brought you together, so enjoy each other's company as we celebrate a life well lived. Now I'm going to see if Jensen would like to come forward. Jensen, would you like to come up with Mummy? We've got some candles to light. How are you going to go, Mum? You right? There we go. And some water, in case the candles, we don't want there to be any issues. Yep, up there you are. Now we've got a nice long stick for you, and if you light from here and light one, as I say, each one, okay? Are we ready? The first candle represents our grief. The pain of losing you, Jos, is intense. It reminds us of the depths of our love for you. The second candle represents our courage to comfort each other and to change our lives. The third candle we light in your memory for the times we laughed, the times we cried, the times we were angry with each other. Does that not sound like Jos? The silly things you did, that sounds like Jos, and the caring and joy you gave us. And the fourth candle we light for our love. We light this candle that your light will always shine with us, Jos. We cherish the special place in our hearts that will always be reserved for you. We thank you for the gift your living brought to each of us. We love you and we remember you. Thank you, Jensen, for being really helpful for your mum. I'm not sure how helpful you were, but thank you, Marika. And after the service, you can take these home and light them on special occasions and any time you would like to remember the light and warmth of Jos's love in your hearts. So there's one for each of the family there. Aveline, I'd like to invite you to come and share your thoughts of Jos with us. Yep. Give me the packet. Give me the packet. Give me the packet. Go. Yeah, Aileen, yeah.
Jos was one of the most, if not the most important person to me, and I've been lucky enough to have him in my life for 35 years. He was one of my main supporters, he was one of my main supporters, my go-to for advice regarding concerns or decisions. And although we didn't live close together, he always was only a phone call away and happy to listen and talk. Jos loved to chat. I remember growing up, we would sometimes stop in the main street of Foster while Jos spoke to someone, and being young, at times it felt like a long time waiting. I'm not sure how much has changed. I would regularly call and talk to Jos while out walking before work after he retired from farming. It would be getting close to 8 a.m. and I'd let him know I'd need to hang up shortly and start work. He would be surprised how much time had passed, and it was often at this point where Jos would start a completely new topic of conversation instead of saying goodbye. We shared a love of animals, travel and agriculture, topics we spoke about often. I always knew Jos would give his honest opinion when discussing things with him, which I appreciated. I never had to read between the lines to know what he was thinking, because he'd just tell me directly, a trait I've been told we both share. Jos was also a stubborn person, and occasionally our conversations could turn into more of a debate. I mainly knew when to pick my battles, but with veterinary topics I could hold my ground. It took a long time to convince him that a new crush at the dairy was not just for the benefits of vets, and that drugs that were years out of date should be thrown in the bin. For Jos, use-by dates were a vague guideline at best. Jos was a proud man. He took pride in his farming, and it was something that he was very passionate about. It motivated him to migrate to Australia, where he left his family and friends to start a new life here. That took courage and determination, and he lived much of his life being a successful dairy farmer, although not without a lot of hard work. I think anyone would agree Jos was a very hard-working person to build a farming enterprise and provide for his family. His passion for farming has greatly influenced the direction my life has taken, inspiring me to study vet science, and after finishing school with the aim of becoming a dairy vet, which is now a job that I love doing every day. I know Jos is proud of me and the goals that I've achieved in my life so far, and without his support, I don't think I'd be where I am today. Jos was the one person I could always count on to help me whenever I needed it. He helped me move house more times than I care to admit. I remember him saying more than once that the next time I move, I should hire a removalist. But the next time came and he would show up again with the tandem trailer and ratchet straps. He always supported and cared for me when life has thrown me challenges. He would keep ear tags and some hair from any pet cows that had passed away over the years, even bury one on the farm when I didn't like the thought of her going to the knackery. When I'd come to visit for the weekend, he'd usually give me some jars of peanut butter that I liked for me to take home, or drive to Port Franklin to buy fresh fish because he knew that's what I loved to eat. We both enjoyed our sweet foods, and there'd always be chocolate in the pantry to eat and a good dessert option available. I think anyone that knew Jos would know he loved to whistle, and he usually did it loudly. Deb Williams had told me that she knew when Jos was coming to visit because she could hear him whistling from down the road, which brings a smile to my face. Growing up, I'd sometimes be lying in bed in the morning and I could hear him whistling from the dairy over the milking machine. I fondly remember riding my horse to help get the cows in with Jos when I came home from school in the afternoons. Years later, I still enjoyed us getting the cows in together on the motorbike when I visited. Jos had a good sense of humour, and I often found him funny when he wasn't trying to be, such as calling out to the cats or Ruby in a high-pitched voice that I can't even pretend to repeat, his present rapping skills or lack of it, the way he pronounced some English words after more than 30 years in Australia, or after the clearing sale of the farm, he realised he'd sold things that he needed and had to buy them again new. There's not enough time to say all the things that I love about Jos. After his stroke, I tried my best to advocate and care for him until his passing, which is the least I can do after everything he's done for me in my life. Although Jos told us once over lunch that when he passed away, we should just throw him on the side of the road and the dogs would drag him off, we thought that Plan B would be better. That's why here today, Ruby's outside at the moment. I would like to sincerely thank everyone who's here today. I'm proud to have Jos as a father, have so much love and respect for him, and there are so many good memories to remember him by. I'll miss him every day for the rest of my life, but I know he has given me the resilience and strength to keep moving forward.
Beautiful. Isn't it? There. Ruby thought that was pretty good too. Well done, Evelyn. Marika? It's here.
Jos, where can I even start to do justice to describe the impact my father has had on me over the 36 years we've spent together? We shared so many interests, from music to food to dairy farming. I have my father to thank for my music taste. Neil Young, Pink Floyd, and Manfred Mann's Earth Band formed the soundtrack to my years growing up at our family farm on Old Hat Road. I have grown to love so many of his favourite songs, which have now become even more meaningful. Jos took me to my first ever concert, Neil Young's Greendale tour back in 2003 when I was 17. I have treasured memories of Jos and I singing and dancing that night to all the classics from the Rust Never Sleeps album. We also attended Bob Dylan and Roger Waters concerts together. I still hold Roger Waters' The Wall concert from 2012 as the most memorable and enjoyable concert I've attended to date, but I'm sure it was no comparison to Pink Floyd's concert at Earl's Court in London in 1980, an event Jos fondly recalled. Jos and I also shared similar tastes in food and drink. We loved roast pork and applesauce, pork belly fillets with creamy mushroom sauce, ice cream with custard for dessert, and mayonnaise on everything. We shared so many meaningful conversations over coffee, a pale ale, or a fine whiskey. Jos was also a very generous man to those nearest and dearest to him, and he insisted on paying for everyone's meals, even when it was us taking him out for his own birthday dinner. Both being dairy farmers, we had endless topics to discuss and farming strategies and achievements to compare. There was always some light-hearted rivalry and banter around whose farm was drier in the summer, wetter in the winter, and whose cows would finish calving first. I really enjoyed growing up on a dairy farm. I appreciate many valuable skills Jos taught me at a young age, including learning to drive the farm ute at 10, the tractor at 12, and I don't even recall how old I was when I shot a rifle for the first time. Jos was very good at mathematics, and I was always in awe of how accurately and quickly he could calculate large sums in his head. I still remember Jos helping me with my maths homework in primary school, and we both had difficulty writing numbers down correctly as they were said backwards in Dutch. For example, 51 is literally translated as 1 and 50 in Dutch, so I'd write down 15. I recall Jos being an intelligent man, and I have benefited from lessons he taught me that he learnt from his father when he was young. For instance, Jos told me that whatever the weather was on the day of a new moon would be indicative of the weather to expect over the next month. To this day, I'm yet to prove him wrong about his theory. Jos had a great sense of humour and was nearly always most funny when he wasn't trying to be. Jos frequently gifted chocolade letters, or chocolate letters, for Christmas, which is a Dutch tradition. Last year, Jos brought 4 letters in anticipation of Clara's birth. Any normal person would have stacked them up and wrapped them in a block, but not Jos. He laid them end to end, and we laughed so hard watching him awkwardly carry the present inside while the chocolate letters swung precariously, held together with only the flimsiest of wrapping paper. Jos had a lot of love for his pets, especially his best mate Ruby, his previous dog Polly, and his German shepherd Fidus back in Holland. Jos also loved cats, and he had many over the years. He was basically the male equivalent of the crazy cat lady. Jos would walk around the farm calling "poot, poot, poot," and all the cats would come and follow him. At the dining table on Christmas Day in 2021, the topic of working out exactly how many cats Jos owned came up. After establishing that there were too many to count, someone asked whether any of them had names. We all ended up in tears of laughter as Jos was more than proud to rattle off the names of some of his favourites, including Kitten, Kitty Puss, Put Put 1, Put-Put-Tu, and Schoffeleboff. Schoffeleboff being the name he so fondly called his house cat, Schoffie. Evelyn and I were very fortunate to have had a memorable experience with Jos for his 70th birthday. The three of us went hot air ballooning in the Yarra Valley in January 2022. It was a special time we shared, and looking back, it was more meaningful. It was one of the last celebratory experiences we shared together. Jos had a special relationship with his grandchildren, his Kleinkinderen, Jensen and Clara. Jos was chuffed when he met his first grandchild, Jensen, and then when Clara was born, he was completely smitten, even though he called her Claudia for the first 7 weeks. There are so many things that I will miss about Jos, like hearing him whistle, his unique voice, and our lengthy chats on the phone. When I called Jos, I wouldn't be that disappointed if he didn't answer, because I would then have the pleasure of hearing his hilarious voicemail. It went something along the lines of, "You have entered the telephone of Josephus Van Der Geest. We are unable to take your message at the moment, so please leave your name and address and your phone number, and we will try and get back to you." Thank you, Jos, for all you have taught me about life. I still can't believe you're gone, and that I will never hear your voice again. Jos, I will forever carry your memory, and while I feel so lost in your absence, I realise that so much of you lives in me. May you forever be at peace now. Can I hold the book?
Yep.
Jos, ik hou zoveel van je en ik zou je heel erg missen. Verschrikkelijk zo. Vandaag neem ik geen afscheid, maar tot ziens.
Beautiful. Well done. There's another one. Thank you, Marika. It's lovely that Ruby approved of yours as well. Jos would be rightly proud of you two girls and of Thomas. You've spoken well, as I'm sure everybody here appreciates. After Jos suffered from a stroke 6 months ago, he wasn't able to communicate. He spent a couple of months in rehab in Traralgon, moving into care in Moama mid-May. And in the last month, his health rapidly deteriorated. I know it's really sad to watch the one you love fade away, and I'm very impressed by the strength and courage of his family here today. Jos would be very proud of you. Now I've got some messages from the Netherlands. And I do apologise to you for your names if I don't get them correct, but you know who you are. Firstly, his sister Richa. Richa? Richa. Richa. I'll get coaching from Richa. Jos was the youngest of 13 children, and I was 1.5 years older. And together with my sister Nellie, we were called the little ones. We grew up on a farm near the little lake, Het Venemir. The three youngest played a lot together. Because we had a lot of older brothers, we had to struggle for some personal attention, and I think this is the reason why, although coming from a big family, we became rather individualistic. I remember a lot of happy summers filled with playing in the yard on the sand pile and swimming in the lake, but also assisting on the farm. Jos and I had to bring our tea to our dad and the older brothers working on the land, and I can't count how many times he fell in the ditch. And of course, I remember the many winters we were sledding in the frozen lake and making our skating tours. Dear Jos, rest in peace. You'll always be in my heart. Corey, the older sister, Corey, 8 years older than Jos. I remember my task was to watch over the little ones after I got home from school. Jos was born on laundry day, Monday afternoon. Jan, our older brother, and I had to inform the neighbourhood, and in those days there were no telephones or postcards or emails. We walked from door to door. We practiced the lines really hard and went on our way to say, "With the compliments from our parents, we come to inform you that a son was born and his name is Jos." I also remember the kind words and treats we got from the neighbours. Jos was the first and only of the 13 children who went to kindergarten. That was something very new in our village, a small cabin in the church garden. My parents initially thought it was too expensive. They also realised that Jos was the youngest, and because his brothers and sisters didn't have much interest or time to play, they decided it was better for him to go there. Jos liked it there, and he was an easygoing and happy child. He liked to play volleyball, and he was quite good at ice skating. His flight to Australia left around midnight. I remember he worked that day, and after work he showered, got changed and had dinner at our place. On his request, I made a typical Dutch stampot called boerenkool met wurst. Well done. Kale mash. Jan and Theo, yep, older brothers, have this message. Jos went to agricultural school and worked at a few local farms. In the beginning, Jos had several jobs. He worked at farms, in horticulture, tomatoes, and in construction. He was very helpful towards friends and neighbours. Jos named the cows. He gave them funny names that made people laugh. Names like Popovice. Impossible to translate, it says. Sorry. Laughing face, tears coming out of the eyes. He ended up working in concrete constructions for nurseries and greenhouses. Jos was an active and busy person who liked to party every now and then, one of the reasons his mother told him it was time for him to find his own place. He spent some time at Jan's place, lived on a houseboat, and finally ended up in his own house together with Anja. Around his 20s, Jos had an accident. He hit a viaduct just outside of Ut Ada. I knew, as many times as I've said that today, I still wouldn't get it perfect. His car was a total loss, but luckily Jos got out pretty good, with minor injuries. But his crash was the talk of the town, of course. Wherever there was Jos, there was Fides, his German shepherd. Jos loved his dog. And his features on the back of our sheet today, the German shepherd on the left. Deep in his heart, Jos wanted a farm, but the chances in Holland were limited. Anja had family living in Australia, and so it happened. They decided to move to Australia. It was very hard for some of us. He was deeply missed by his brothers and sisters. Many family members went to visit him down under, and luckily Jos came to visit us in the Netherlands a few times. Talking about Jos now brings back happy memories and a smile on our faces. Smiley face. Thank you, Jos. Rest in peace. A little heart. Marika mentioned Jos and her going to Neil Young concert. He's one of my favourites too, but you did a different album to me. But these are the words from one of his songs, Expecting to Fly. There you stood on the edge of your feather, expecting to fly. While I laughed, I wondered whether I could wave goodbye, knowing that you'd gone. By the summer it was healing, we said goodbye. All the years we'd spent with feeling ended with a cry. Babe, ended with a cry. I tried so hard to stand as I stumbled and fell to the ground, so hard to laugh as I fumbled and reached for the love I found, knowing it was gone. If I ever lived without you, now you know I'd die. If I ever said I loved you, now you know I'd try. Babe, you know I'd try. The family have some photos and another special piece of Jos's music to share with you.
Joker knows he can't escape. Same time every year, fun fair's back in town. Numbers in the air, like ticker tape. 58, 56, 54, angels about the world. 63, 62, 61, 60. Joker knows he can't escape. Same time every year, fun fair's back in town. Numbers in the air, like ticker tape. 58, 56, 54, angels around the world. 63, 62, 61, 60, 59, 58, angels around the world. 59, 58, 57, 56, 59,
beautiful collection of photos. What a lovely family. It's obvious that Jos was a very special person to all of us, and so now, as we commit him to rest peacefully, I'd ask you to silently reflect on Jos, his life and what he has given and meant to each of us, as we spend a few minutes in silent reflection. Do this in your own way. You might like to pray or think of a positive impact Jos has made on your life and reflect upon that. While music plays Shine On You Crazy Diamond by Pink Floyd. Let's have a few minutes silence. So I'd ask you if you're able to stand for the committal. And I realise this time of physical parting is going to be the most difficult time for all of us who are here. But it's part of the journey we must make as we bid our final farewells. So now is the time we say our last goodbye to Jos Van Der Geest, a loving and loved father of Marika, Aveline and Thomas, grandfather of Jensen and Clara, brother, uncle, cousin and friend. In grief at his death, but in gratitude of his life and the special privilege of sharing in it, lovingly and tenderly we will return his body to the elements from which it came. He's now resting in peace. We are glad that Jos lived. We're glad that we saw his face and felt the pressure of his hand. We cherish the memory of his family life, of his place in history. We cherish his friendship and most of all, his love. But be assured and aware of the continuing care, love and support of each other. And let Jos's memory continue to strengthen us and guide us as we remember his courage through life and help us to love with more resolve from having known him. And may you find comfort, richness and example in your memories of Jos. May you find support and strength in your love for one another, and may you find peace in your hearts. Now, Jos loved his chocolate, so we've got some special Dutch treats over here. Some Dutch licorice, which is an acquired taste. Some special little Dutch rum ball things, and some Dutch spiced cookies. We've also got some chocolate, which we've heard that Jos really enjoyed. I'd ask the girls to come forward, and Adam and Thomas will join in at the end. We do have some petals to put on the coffin. We'll take Jos out, and when we're out there, I'd ask you to come and sprinkle some petals and say your final farewells. Jensen.